Hello, how's it going? You alright? I'm Brad Refresh, and this is Scene Chat Tuesdays where we talk shit about music, we listen to some new tunes, we talk about events, things like that. This is, I will call, a little centralised community within the sort of northern bounce scene and beyond, to be honest with you. And what we do is every week, people write in questions, which anyone can do. People send in their new music, and we promote new events that's happening this weekend. So we'll just get straight into it. I'm going to give you a little preface before we get into this one this week. This will be a little bit shorter, I think. Reason being is I'm catching a train. I'm going to London tonight. So I just want to be transparent with you that today there is no track reviews. Because we got two sent in, but I want to roll them over to next week and doing an extended show. This week we have got a lot of questions to get through, which I'm really excited about as well. I mean, they're coming from every angle right now. So I hope everybody had a good weekend. Let me know if you were out raving, where were you at, and was it a good night? Let me know, because there was a lot of, obviously being bank holiday as well, there was a lot of events on last weekend. Seen videos from all over the place, to be honest with you. I had a relatively quiet one. As you can probably tell, I'm quite bunged up. It was my 30th birthday. Went out for some food with friends, seeing family, etc., etc. And do you know something? Really enjoyed doing nothing. I got a little bit of a compilation. If I can grab the compilation, I'm going to put it in here. It's interesting. It's very interesting. I got some nice messages off people. One of my favourites. In fact, I'll play them at the end. If you want to see them, right? I'm going to put them on at the end of this show, because there's some funny ones. Totally random, if I'm entirely honest with you. But yeah, anyways, we'll get straight into today. We've got a whole load of questions to get started. So to kick things off, we'll just jump straight in. Questions section. This question is from Dom from DVB, and he's put, do you think promo mixes work for selling events? Honestly, no, I don't. Well, somewhat. I will say this, the promo mix has been very valuable to personally my growth. So if I've been on an event, I've done a promo mix, I think there's a lot of people who've checked me out off the back of it. So I think it's really beneficial for the artist. And as well, if the promoter angles it in a way where it's, like if you want to see more of this and things like that, it can be quite beneficial and useful as a promo tool. That said, there is better promo tools out there nowadays. Not necessarily my preference, because I do like a good promo mix, but when you see artists posting videos and things like this on your TikToks and the hyping the event up, I think a lot of promoters prefer that because it gets that organic engagement. But promo mixes, I'm all for them, to be honest with you. I don't like it when there's 1,000,001 promo mixes for one event, but that also comes hand in hand with, I think, that some of the lineups are too big, as in quantity wise. So, let's say that we had, 4 DJs on all night, and it was, a spectacle of all different styles. And each DJ did do a promo mix to see what, just to give you a little bit of an inkling of what time of the night they were going to be playing and what style they'll be playing. I think that's pretty sweet. I like that. But, 1,000,001 DJ promo mixes for an event because there's 5 rooms on or whatever, it's a bit gets a bit out of hand. But it's a good promotional tool nonetheless. Next up we have a question from DJ Rome, and it's, where's all the event recordings now, like back in the day? Right. Again, is this the content era versus sort of in the moment culture? That's what I want to know. And I have got a valid point here where I think, live recordings are really good. Really, really good. Because, look at it like this, I got into listening to Sanctuary. I know I bang this drum a lot, but I got into listening to Sanctuary through them live recordings, just hearing the atmosphere when you had people like Farrell, or you had Avi or Wizard or whoever was on, and when a tune dropped, and you can almost feel that atmosphere. That's how I got into it. And that's how not how I got into it, but that's basically what captured my imagination at first. And there is another brand who's done it recently. I know that Sanctuary still records them, but I'm sure they're behind like a paywall, like a USB or whatever. Same goes for Kenty's events with This Is Bounce. I'm sure BTID have done a couple of USBs with their live events on as well, if I'm not mistaken. But one brand that sticks out to me, and we're going to talk about them a little bit more later as well, is Elation. So with Elation, I am fully on board with what they're doing. I absolutely love what they're doing. In my opinion, one of the most excitable events in my mind in the bounce scene. There's just something about them that really they have like a new, fresh feeling to them, but they also have that like back in the day feeling. And I think that the live recordings are something to do with that, because when I'd never been to one of their nights, if I'm going to be entirely transparent. And what had happened was I'd listened to a couple of the recordings, and it was the same sort of vibe. I could see the atmosphere, feel the atmosphere, and on the videos, on the live event mixes that have been uploaded to SoundCloud, and I thought, you know what, that's a bit of me, that is. And I think that's been a big part of their growth as well, when people listen to them sets back and go, fuck me, I missed a good night there. That said, I have seen a couple more events do it. I know Bouncing have done it. The guys in Fusion in Burnley. I know they've been putting a few of their live sets out. I think if your bigger brands and known brands do this and just drop one set from each event, and then if you want to put the rest behind a USB paywall and use it as a bit of a promo thing, I think that'll be cool, because I think you need live sets back in circulation. There's something very exciting about live sets, in my opinion. I have seen a bit of an argument with people that, there is sloppy DJs on at the minute, and that's a whole another story, to be honest with you. I'm seeing a lot of, and again, I had this discussion, and I'm not going to say who it was with, because I don't think they'd want to know about it. But it was a I'm going to call it behind the curtain. We had a behind the curtain conversation of green rooms, and I want to talk about this a little bit. With I know obviously we're talking about live recordings and things like this and whatnot, but this sort of ties into it. With DJs now, I'm noticing there's two different styles of DJ. It tends to be, you get your main roomers who are serious, and this has been going on a long time, by the way. This isn't something new, but there's more of a divide that I'm noticing, especially when I'm going to events. You've got your main roomers who are there, and they are professionals. They're at the top for a reason, the creme de la creme of our scene. They come in, do their bit. Some of them stay the night and have a great time and whatnot, but they're not getting absolutely messy. And I've been talking to somebody who was in a green room at the weekend, and this won't narrow it down because this could be anybody. And what had happened was, like, for me, a green room's always been like, it should be DJs only. That's just my opinion. And whenever I've been in green rooms in the past, it was DJs. Obviously, artists only. Sorry, so DJs, MCs, whatnot. But apparently, absolutely rammed green room at the weekend, and it's not the first occasion I'm hearing this on. And it's just full of room to messy heads. And they're just in there off the Swede all night doing whatever. I do not agree with that one bit. I know I've went slightly off subject here, but it's something I wanted to bring up today, and this feels like a natural sort of thing. When it comes to if you're getting paid for a gig, because I'm seeing a couple a couple of like room tours who were saying, I want 100, 200 quid, whatever you want to do a room tour. That's ridiculous in my opinion. Especially if you're going to turn up and you're just an absolute waste man, like where you're just like absolute twatted all night. You can barely put together your set because you're just not professional in this. And obviously, there is a element of, I know a lot of DJs who are also ravers, and there's a balance to it. And I don't want to get too far into the weeds in this one, but if you're getting paid and if you're demanding a wage of X amount of money, and you turn up and you're not functioning in this, then fucking you really need to evaluate yourself and sort yourself out. It's just my opinion. Like, you know, there's many people who would love to have that spot where you are. And is it down to skill, or is it down to who you know, or things like that? But if you're turning up and you're clear on the floor because you just ruined, and your mixing's terrible, your tune selection's terrible, and this isn't aimed at anyone in particular, but there is a pattern of this in a couple of room twos that I have seen, and obviously everyone talks. We all talk to each other, and I wouldn't say it's gossip or anything like that. It's who's hot and who's not. You know what I mean? I have the same conversations about the guys who's absolutely killing it at the minute in their sets, where they're turning up, relatively new guys, reading the dance floor like an absolute fucking master, even though they're sort of fairly green to DJing, or new producers coming along and they're dropping their tunes and they're getting huge reactions. We all talk about this behind the scenes because we want to know who's killing it, and we want to know what's going on. If you don't think that doesn't happen, then you're a bit fucking you're a bit green yourself, to be honest. But anyways, by the by, next question. Next question is from Ryan Neal, and it's a two-parter. And he said, is there any value in either of the following? A, keeping tracks for yourself and having some exclusivity for any potential future sets. And B, giving active DJs on the circuit tracks so they can be played out and heard. Also, what's your thoughts on people jumping in inboxes for tracks but never speaking a word to said person previously? Cheeky or the norm? Right, okay. A couple of things to unpack on this one. So we'll answer the first one, which is A, which is keeping tracks to yourself and having some exclusivity for potential future sets. I don't know about anybody else, but what we do is we keep our tracks for our sets, and then after a couple of months, if they are half decent, they get good reactions and things like that, we tend to put it on our promo list and they'll get sent out there. So in the latest promo list, by the way, if you're a promo list DJ and you are on the Manic promo list, check your emails, because I sent one out last week and that's got some new bits in there. That said, you know, if there's stuff that gets good reactions and things like that, they tend to go on the promo list after a couple of months after we've had a chance to sort of play them out and things like that. There is stuff that we exclusively have, and it's not down to the fact that we want to gatekeep it or anything like that. It's more the fact of there was no real buzz around it. Like and this is for everyone out there. There is tunes that you do that will get loads of hype, and there'll be tunes that you do that get next to nothing. No one can really predict what's going to be big, because if that was the case, you know, it would be a scene led by one person. So with this, yes, we've got loads of stuff on the shelf that I would still pull out because I think they're good tunes in themselves, but they didn't really do much to the wider public. So in answer to that question, I think given there's nothing really nowadays. How can I word this best? If you want to stand out from everyone else, put a mix together, right? Create yourself an hour. Like I know comedians do this. They'll write themselves an hour where they go, "This is what I'm about," and I've seen other DJs do it where they go, "This is my summer 2026 mix, and this is what I'm about. Some of these are the tunes I'm going to be playing," things like that. And within that, they might have 30% of the stuff that they're sitting on, do you know, and the other 70 is stuff that's publicly available. I think that's probably a good balance there, if I'm entirely honest with you. Second one is giving active DJs on the circuit tracks so they can be heard. All for it. We do it. We send it to all DJs who we think would like a particular track. You know, if you're on the promo list, you'll be receiving our tracks and Manic music tracks. Absolutely nothing against this. This is what you should be doing. I think it's a standard if you want your tunes to sort of get any sort of traction. Also, what are your thoughts on people jumping in inboxes for tracks, but never speaking a word to said person previously? Cheeky or the norm? I find this a little bit cheeky, to be honest with you. In the same vein, and again, I'm going to put it on its head here. I've had people just send me Dropbox links for this show where I'm saying when I say to you send the tracks over to be reviewed. I'm all for it, but a little hello doesn't go amiss. Do you know what I mean? Even if we've never spoke before and you don't know that we know each other. Hi, I'm fucking. What I do is hi, I'm Brad, producer and DJ, manic. Da 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 da. I've just got some tunes here that I'd like you. If you want to play them, I'd like you to review them. On the flip side, to answer your question, if I was after a tune, and I've done this to people in the past where I've went, I fucking love this track. Reach out to say hi. If we're acquaintances, I'll say hi mate, how's it going? You all right? Heard this track. Is it possible if I can get a copy? And the worst you can say is no. If I've never met said person, I'd introduce myself and speak to them a little bit. I wouldn't just say, hey, send me that. I'd say, hi, loving the stuff that you do and heard this track in particular, any chance for a copy. That's how you make sort of a bit of a network, to be honest with you. I think reaching out and just saying, like, complimenting someone on the music if you enjoy it, or they reach out to you, whatever. I honestly don't see a problem with it. I do see a problem with, like I say, just a Dropbox link or send us that tune, lad. Like, fuck off, man. You'll find that people who do message you for your music tend to become your mates anyways. Like, if they reach out to you, oh, I love this, and then you see them play it and then buzzing. But yeah, strangers messaging, this is what I would say. If there's somebody who you don't know or speak to, I would only give them something if they approached me in a way where they went, hi, loving what you're doing, or even hi, just a hi. Hi, want to do this, and like, yeah, sound. But just to expect to be sent them, not about that whatsoever. So yeah, thanks Ryan for that question today. Next up, we have a question from Flex, who is now, I think this is the third week in a row I've had questions from you. This is fantastic, mate. I'm absolutely loving the energy. So, is the DJ scene actually oversaturated or just gate kept to death? If you're an up-and-coming DJ starting from scratch, what do you have to do to break through and get noticed? Because let's be honest, talent alone clearly isn't enough anymore. And big lineups genuinely about skill and crowd control, or is it the same recycled names, friendship circles, and who you know culture keeping new talent locked out? Is there actually room for fresh DJs to break through on major lineups, or are the spots quietly reserved before the lineup gets announced? Well, that is a really good question. I'm going to speak on both ends of this, and my opinion is, yes, I do believe that some of the spaces on these lineups are just held because their person had a name 20 years ago and have not done anything since. I think this again will very much go hand in hand with when I mentioned comedy earlier. In the comedy scene, I've noticed a big switch into the people. If you look at, and again, sorry if you don't watch comedy, but this is my reference point. If you look at things like your Freddie Quinns, Adam Rowe, Ishan Akbar, Mike Rice, all these people were circuit comedians before, right? And they weren't the headliners, but then about 10, 15 years ago, there was this, you had like your old generation comics, and they were telling the same jokes as they were 30 years prior. And they had no new stuff, and it gets very bland. But if you're going up and down the country and you're not releasing this stuff on the internet, then it's very easy to make it feel fresh, even though it's not. Like, I still see people doing COVID gags, like at comedy shows. I'm thinking, fuck me, mate, move on. But again, that's what it is with the older scene, older generation. If there is older people and they are changing with the times and they are putting out new content, they are still making music or still putting mixes out, then fucking fantastic. They deserve that spot, because if they're still trying to push the boundaries 20 or 30 years into their career, fantastic. But yes, in what you're asking in this question, Flex, I do believe that there is some people who've done absolutely nothing who feel like maybe spots justified for them because they did something relevant 20 years ago. That is my opinion. On the flip side to that, I am gonna say this: there is room on every lineup for new DJs. If somebody's good enough and you build up that demand and that following, and I'm going to say this as well because I'll be entirely transparent with what I'm going to say as well. Look at somebody like an Andy Whitby. Andy Whitby is not really my thing. I don't really. His style of music's not what I like, but you've got to respect the way he handles himself, the way he's handles his business, the way he handles himself as an artist, the way he presents himself. It's admirable. It really is. And not everyone has that level of doing that. I see a lot of mimics who try and mimic what he does. I think it's a little bit embarrassing. You should find your own voice, your own style and what you do, right? And what I respect in this is he himself brands himself as, like Andy Whippy. Everyone sees the logo, they recognise it instantly. He's got his fingers in a few pies, you know what I mean? I think he's involved in the Bounce Heaven. He does Bounce Generation, his own thing, and he's got like 1,000,001 labels from back in the day. He done Hard, he done Awesome, he done all sorts. And the thing is that's always been consistent with him. He's constantly like trying to evolve, and you've got to respect that, because he's got a community himself in which everybody who's in that community really likes what he does and are a big fan of him because he knows how to present himself. He knows how to make himself an asset. And this is where this answers your question. If you book Andy Whitby as a promoter, you know you're going to get an extra 20 or 30 heads in your club night. That is just fact. Like if I put Andy Whitby on in my town and said, right, Andy Whitby's coming, you're going to get 20 or 30 heads extra, minimum. And promoters can't ignore that because they need him more than somebody else on that lineup, as an example. And that's why he's where he is, because he's a valuable asset to anybody who's making the investment in booking him. And that's what people in this scene need to understand. If you want to be a valuable asset, and if you want to be the sort of main stage, top of the tree type guy, you've got to make yourself an identity of who you are. Whether that is somebody who's like Whitby, who's quite flamboyant. I wouldn't say flamboyant's the right word, but out there, and his face is on everything. You can go with that approach. If that's you can be the person who's quiet and in the background, but your music sort of speaks for itself. You can be. There's so many different ways that you can put yourself out there and be an asset. And if someone's booking you, they know that they're going to get a couple extra heads through the door. That's the be all and end all for the promoters. That's what they're looking at. One, are they playing music that's relevant to what we're doing as a party? And two, are they going to put bums on seats? I'd put a little third one in there. This one is the one that nobody talks about, but I want to put it out there for a matter of discussion, is if they're a nice person as well. The amount of people I've seen who are talented, who put bums on seats, but are fucking bellends, right? And this isn't just in the bouncing, this is across the whole dance scene, even into sort of some rock music that I'm into, where people do not get booked because of their attitude, because it fucking stinks. And I'm glad that we're in a space right now. In 10 years' time, I think there will be a lot. If there's people who've got nothing to offer, you'll only see them on classics, reunions, things like that. I think in 10 years' time, if bounce is still popping off in the clubs, I think that the lineup you'll be seeing will be the people who's out there now, who's pushing, who's hungry, who's making themselves an asset, because that's what it is. Look at the comedian world right now. You have mainstream TV shows. You have your Live at the Apollos, you Mock the Weeks, 8 out of 10 Cats, Taskmaster, all of these things. And there is a collection of comedians across England and beyond right now who've not done any of those, and they are objectively bigger than the stars that's doing that. Because you don't need the TV anymore to be big, because if you've got your own community and you've got your own social following, they'll follow you and let's say, okay, Brad's on in Carlisle, and you've got a little pocket of fans in Carlisle who come out and see you. That is viable to a promoter. You can, and again, when you look from the comedy side of things, I've seen people who've been on live at the Apollo, right, and in my local comedy club, they can't sell 100 tickets because they've got that TV presence, but they just don't have the that connection with their own audience. They don't have their own audience in general, to be honest with you. But I think since 2019, 2020, people have been building out their own brands, and you can see that it's evident. Well, look, even what I'm doing now, I've been building up my brand. I wouldn't call it a brand. It genuinely is a community to me, because this is how I communicate with the people who follow my music, the people who are engaged in the scene. And I know there'll be people writing in the comments, there'll be people, and this is what I'm about. So this is my sort of community. So I'm literally doing what I'm saying to do for yourself. Flex for yourself. Keep your head down. Keep pushing the tunes. Build your own brand up. That's what it needs to be about. I know you've got your own bounce night as well. I can't remember the name of it. I do apologise. But build that up. Focus on building yourself up. And the reason I'm saying this is because the next question is from another producer, and it sort of backs up what I've just been saying. And this is a question from Andy T. Why is it the big brand nights only notice DJs and MCs when they go off and start their own thing, i.e. make their own tracks, start their own events, start their own brand with CDs and so on? Seems to be the only way to break through these days, I think. Whatever happened to raw talent? Andy, this is nothing against you, mate, and I genuinely want to just put it out there. This is a hard truth segment. And one thing that'll always stick with me is, you can be a fantastic DJ, but if you're just in your bedroom mixing away and you're not pushing yourself and promoting yourself with mixed CDs and things like that, no one's going to hear you. So there's going to be no demand for you to be there. No one knows you exist in theory, and I know that's probably not what you're getting at, but big brand nights only notice DJs when they go off and start their own thing. It just reverts back to the previous question, what I said there. With this, you've got people who are making themselves an asset. And in this case, what you said here, make their own tracks. Okay, make their own tracks. If you're a producer and you're making bangers, that should be getting you on the lineups. Doesn't always happen, but that should be getting you on the lineups. Start their own events. If you start your own event and you've got a following, and you can prove that you've got a following, the bigger names will pick up on that. I'm going to do a little shout out to Howard as well from Elation. Howard's got his own brand with Elation. I'm seeing him getting booked all over the place. It's because he knows his tunes and he can and DJ for one, but people see that people follow Elation, and I'm sure that as an example, I could have cherry picked anybody there across the board, but and that's why he's getting his bookings, and I'm sure he'll hold his hands up and say, listen, like with Elation's made him his identity, in at least from my perspective. Mix CDs, I want to do a shout out to Cal as an example. Cal does his digging deeps and vocal mixes. He got bookings off the back of that because he's putting his mixes and his presence in the faces of people and going, this is who I am, this is what I'm about, and people reach out and book him. I think it's just natural. Now though, like there is not, I don't know a single DJ who just turns up in DJs and like gets on bookings. I genuinely don't see that and I haven't seen it for a long time. I hope that answers your question, Andy. And as well, if you are promoting yourself in the right way, because I will say now, there was a shift before where there was a lot of shit thrown at the wall by people, and like, you know, only some of it stinks. But I'd say you're 70% music orientated. So whether you're a DJ, an MC, or a producer, 70% of that is in your raw talent and doing what you do. But then the 30% is you've got to be promoting yourself. If you want that spot on a lineup, if you want on them big nights, you need to give them reason to book you at the end of the day. And if I'm wrong, if someone believes I'm wrong, correct me in the comments, because that's what it's about. And a last question is from Dave Ogden. So new guy who's writing in. This is his first question. So producers, what VSTs are you is bringing the best sounds at the moment? I'll give you an answer of what I'm using, and then any other producers who's in the comments, obviously write what you're using as well. I genuinely don't think it's about what VSTs that you use. I think it's about mastering one and being able to do what you can with it. So for me, I have a hybrid setup. You may be able to see here. I've got a Polysynth here, got a Model D, I've got the Op 6 Mark II, and I've got a couple of bits underneath here as well that's actually not plugged in or anything. They're just in storage there. And with this, I create a lot of my sounds from this. But if we're talking in the box, I don't think you can go very far wrong with Serum, in my opinion, because it's very, very easy to a new user. If you're not used to sound design or anything like that, it's very easy to pick up very quickly. So Serum's what I use like all the time, all the time. Made a lot of my bass sounds, made a lot of my lead sounds, made a lot of effects in Serum as well. So yeah, that's what I'm using. Obviously, I like Silence. I don't use that as much as I used to. I make some good sounds and stuff like that, and you can get some good presets to edit in there. I think that's really good. I liked Massive as well. I don't use that as much as I used to as well. Classic stuff. I used to like Vanguard. I thought Vanguard was very good back in the day. What else am I using VST wise? I'm trying to think of like actual soft synths. I've seen a few people using Lethal. I've not used it myself, but it's something I'm definitely going to look into. I mean, I've got a computer that I'm using here. So this is my studio setup. I've got a laptop which I'll be using on the go today. Like as I say, I'm going to London, so I'll be getting the train. I'll be doing some music on the train. And I don't have Serum on it. I've got Vital. So if you've got Vital, that's actually free. And it's just as simple as Serum to get on board with. It does the same sort of sounds and things like that. It's almost identical, to be honest with you. And I found that quite useful. So if you're a user of Vital, that's pretty good as well. Other sort of plugins and stuff that I use that are sort of essential to my arsenal. I like the Fab Filter Bundle. I think I still use that. So I use the saturator, I use the compression, EQ, and everything from there. I like Sound Toys. If you use Sound Toys, there's some really, really good stuff in the Sound Toys stuff there. Echo Boy, Decapitator, Radiator. I can't remember. I can't remember a lot off the top of my head, but that package itself is fantastic. I still use some of the older stuff that I used to use as well. I still use Sausage Fattener. I still use what's the other one that they did? Not Sausage Fattener. The one with the hands in the air thing. I still use that quite regular as well. I do try and keep it simple. This is a good bit of feedback for anybody who's getting into production as well. Less is always more. I found that. And I've been working with a guy currently at the minute who's sort of finding his feet with production and whatnot, and he himself is like he's got 1,000,001 plugins, but he doesn't know how to use any of them. Just strip it back, have something like for a compressor, have a saturator, have an EQ, have something that deals with stereo mono, the basic tools essentially. Master that set and just use them. Less is absolutely more. Like I find myself now. Before, I remember I used to, when I was making kicks, I'd have like a full effects chain in the mixer full of just bits that was just there, and I was just tweaking and just find a good sound. Like that's where that's a mistake I was genuinely making. So this is somebody who's done it and then go back and for example, now I'd make a kick drum, whether that's a sample that I use or whether I synthesize it. And get the sound you want in the sound rather than having to post edit it and add your distortion, add things like that. And then it literally just needs tightened up in areas. If it needs a little bit of EQ, just stick an EQ on. If it needs a little bit of compression, compress it. Don't have a full chain of shit on it. Like get the right sound rather than having to spend a lot of time working on it. Less is absolutely more, in my opinion. So yeah, I hope that answers your question. If there's any producers listening as well, comment what you use. If there was something I've not mentioned, absolutely drop it in the comments, because one, I want to know, and two, Dave Ogden wants to know as well. So yeah, let us know. Next up, we have the event section. So, events. This is what we've got on this week. We're going to kick things off with the biggie. In my opinion, this is the go-to event of the week. I'd be going to this. In fact, I still might go to this, depending on what time is and works like. This is Elation presents Discoland at Pure Nightclub. This May 9th. It's Club Filler, MC Storm, headlining. Then you've got John Neal, Bad, Initiate, Carl Strobe, Anna Mac, Howard B, Craig Smart, Ant Reynolds, Matt Bain, and Carl Red. And then on the mic, you've got Master C, Lukey P, Duffy, and Reddy. And then you've got Arena 2 as well. So you've got a pretty stacked lineup there. Pure Nightclub, you know what you're getting. Elation, one of my favourite brands. I can guarantee you that the tunes at this night will be top notch. Just looking at the lineup, we've got some of my favourites on there. I think they bring a good vibe. If they are doing what I think they are, which it looks like they're going to try and turn it into a bit of an old school rave, that's going to be absolutely phenomenal. Just need everyone to get there, because to be honest with you, Elation are I think, in my opinion, the most exciting brand at the minute. And they have been for a while because of the ethos that they have. They just need to grow the brand. And I've spoke to Howard about this. Like, the bigger it gets, I hope to maintain that identity, because I love it. So yeah, Elation this weekend. Next up, we have More Cake, the all-day party. This is a big lineup. I'm not going to read the full lineup, but it's stacked. I'll put it on the screen. It's at Park Hall. It's Saturday the 9th of May. Some really good DJs on there. You've got Dream Frequency headlining, and then a whole load of your favourites when it comes to More Cake DJs. That is Saturday the 9th, same night as Elation, and it's Park Hall in Chorley. Again, legendary venue. This if you're into your old school, I think that's a must go to night. There's some really good DJs on that lineup. Next up, we have. Now, this is a biggie. Obviously, it's been happening last weekend as well as this weekend, but it's the Clubland Arena Tour 2026. I mean, it's fucking stacked. It's at Newcastle this weekend. I'm going to read out some of the names on here. You've got Billy Gillis, Cascada. You've got Darren Styles, Alex K, fucking Alex K, right? DD, Flip and Phil versus Ultra Beats, Ian Vandal, Kelly Lorena, LMC, and a few others as well. Obviously, Finching Keys on the mic. That's going to be unbelievable. And I mean, I've been seeing videos from this week's, and there is thousands there. It looks absolutely insane to see Clubland back up there. It's amazing to see, and I'm really happy for everyone involved in that, because it goes to show that, okay, we're part of a scene that is quite underground, but when it's on a level of Clubland and the events that they put on, fuck me, arena tours and the Rammed. Well done, the boys. I don't know, fantastic. And last event for this week that I've come across, and this is at the Dome. Again, fantastic venue in Liverpool. It's Transcorder and the Dome present Paul Oakenfold, and it's a Perfecto Trance Classic set. With support from Alan Hartley, Dark Fusion, Paul Bleasdale, and Rico. I mean, you get them what it says on the tin here. Trans Classics, Oakenfold, supporting acts at the Dome. That'll be a top night. If you're into your trance, that will be a top night. They're a top venue with top DJs. And that's the events for this week. What I do want to do is I just want to go through one more thing with you before we finish up today. I do apologise that I'm not going to be doing track reviews this week. To be honest with you, I think I wouldn't be doing it anyways if I wasn't going to London. I'm feeling a bit fucking stuffy at the minute, so I hope it didn't come across too badly on the stream. I'm going to plug a couple of things. Last Friday we did the Manic Sessions, the 5th episode, and we've had a really good reception so far. So if you want to hear 40 minutes of new music, and then we did an artist spotlight on Tidy Remixed, which again there were some fantastic tracks. It's not often I go back and listen to my own sets, but I listened to that set yesterday in the car just to sort of basically to listen to those Tidy tracks again that were on the artist spotlight, and honestly, really, really good tunes that's coming out at the minute. It feels like listening to that as well, listening back to that. I'm not playing the donkey stuff. I am playing bits of it in my set, but like I'm playing, bits of hard trance, bits of hard house, bits of hard dance, and I'm just amalgamating it into like my taste. And I'll tell you what, it's given me 2000 Scouse House energy again, where define what Scouse House actually is. Do you know what I mean? When you think of what Scouse House actually is, it was just like a banging club tune, and this is what they are. It's not necessarily donk music that I'm playing in these radio shows. It's very much a little bit of trance. If it's a good Eurodance tune, I'll play that as well. Like I actually played some hands up stuff. I haven't played hands up stuff in years, but I heard a tune from Top Models, and I thought, oh, that'll fit right into the show. We'll play that, and it's banging. This is where I feel like some DJs need to look further afield rather than just, being narrow-minded and going, right, it needs to have tribal church stabbing it. It needs to have in a, fucking Clubhead's dinky synth sound. Like, just obviously, if you like that style, do it, but don't have like 60 minutes of the same sound, especially if you're a producer. Like, broaden your horizons. That would be my message for anyone who's watching, who's looking to sort of really hone the craft. Is broaden your taste. I think that's essential. And yeah, if you have enjoyed this, obviously share it with your friends. We'll be doing a bonus stream next week because as a bit of an apology for this one being a little bit shorter, where I've got a stack full of new vinyl that's came through with the post, and we'll be doing some reviews on them as well. So you get your classics fix as well as your reviews from new tracks. So again, thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you again next week. If you have questions, if you have tracks, anything like that, send them through to me. You can email questions in as well. It's manicmusichq@hotmail.com. And I'll see you again next week. See you later.